Hi, you guys. Welcome back to Meaningful Motivations with Tracey Erickson. And of course, if you are new to this channel, welcome. My name is Tracey Erickson, and in this video, I am going to discuss the spiritual significance of a common fly, like a housefly. So stay tuned. One night last week, as I began preparing dinner for my family, a fly kept buzzing around my head, and I would just kind of swoosh it away and get back to my task at hand. And finally, when my husband came into the kitchen, I mentioned this fly that had been annoying me since I began making the dinner. Right as he began looking for the flies, one actually flew past his head, so he followed it with his gaze all the way to the window in the living room. You guys, it was so disgusting. There had to have been at least 20 flies all around our front window of the house. And it was a really nice day outside, so we had all of our windows open all day. So we're not real sure how they got in, but somehow all of these flies had snuck into the house, and they were all just trying to get out of the window of our living room. My husband was like, no. And I was standing in the kitchen going, oh my gosh, is this some kind of spiritual attack? What is going on here? And the whole time my husband is still like, no. The whole time I was just freaking out about all of these flies that we had discovered in our home. My husband ended up basically exterminating the problem that night. And we haven't really seen a fly problem since that day. But it was such a very strange experience, and there were just so many flies all in one place in my house that it made me think that it was definitely a message from spirit. I started just by thinking about the fly itself and kind of like how the fly behaves and the things in our minds that we may associate or correspond with the insect of the housefly. So, of course, I thought to myself that flies are seen as a major annoyance, first of all, because they fly around your head, you hear them buzzing, you try to swoop them away, but they keep coming back. So my first thought was that flies are very annoying. And then my next thought was that flies are also very dirty, and they're kind of associated with like death and decay, because flies love to land on excrement, and they land on food, and they land on people. They can spread disease, and flies have also been known as a plague that have been sent in the Bible. And so in general, I thought flies are kind of annoying little nagging thoughts that we have inside of our own selves, right? And also that those nagging thoughts could be connected with a big change in our lives in some way. So I decided to also look into the symbolic meaning of flies beyond just what we associate flies with in our thinking. I decided to get my Taschen's Book of Symbols out to see if that book covers the fly. And sure enough, it does. So within Taschen's Book of Symbols, it states, in general, flies are less identified with spirits of the air and gifts of healing than with earthliness at its most graphic, as disease, death, and putrefaction. The book goes on to state that the habits of survival which converge with their role in the lethal transmission of disease have mythically made the fly a creature of the diabolical and its possession. The evil spirit lies like a fly at the door of the human heart, says the Talmud. The Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies, a Philistine deity, became in the Christian scriptures a synonym for Satan. And then that part kind of caught my attention where it said, the Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies, became in the Christian scriptures a synonym for Satan. So I decided to look a little more into this Beelzebub character. I went back to my bookshelf, and this time I grabbed the Encyclopedia of Spirits. And within that book, I did find Beelzebub, Lord of the Flies, Lord of Chaos. And in that book it says, the Philistines were traditional enemies of the Israelites. They do not appear in flattering terms in the Old Testament. The word Philistine remains a synonym for uncouth barbarian. So perhaps it is no surprise that their primary male deity, Beelzebub, appears in even less flattering light in the New Testament. The original Beelzebub was a spirit of fertility and rebirth. In the Gospels, Beelzebub, as his name evolved, is chief of demons and prince of devils. In Christ's time, Beelzebub seems to have been incorporated into controversial shamanic techniques disapproved of by the general Jewish public. According to the Gospel of Luke, when people witnessed Jesus successfully expel demons from the bodies of the ailing, they accused him of doing so with assistance from Beelzebub. Luke records that Jesus was insulted by this suggestion. In those early days, Satan outranked Beelzebub. By the 16th century, however, demonologist Johann Wierus was listing Beelzebub as supreme chieftain of hell, with Satan below him. The distinction between the two was eventually erased. So after kind of pondering all of this and doing a little bit of research, I came to the conclusion that the housefly, or any type of fly, can actually symbolically represent transformation, because not only are the flies attracted to death and decay, but when they lay their eggs, those eggs become maggots, which are like little worms. Those aren't even flies at all. So those little maggots end up transforming into flies. So the fly can represent a death and rebirth, basically a huge change coming in life. And it can also represent some type of transformation of the self. So this transformation. Now, the fly can also represent perseverance, because when you think of the fly and how you continually swat it away and it just keeps coming back, that definitely shows a level of perseverance in the fly. In the end, I realized that the fly, as far as a spiritual symbol or omen, can hold both positive and negative connotations, depending on really what has been going on in your life and in your thinking at the time of encountering the fly. And you can also factor in the way that the experience of the fly took place. Was it being annoying? Was it creeping you out? Was it kind of scary? Like the experience that I had where suddenly we realized there were tons of flies inside of my house. So it all just kind of depends on how you experience the fly at the time of seeing it as a spiritual message. Because with the fly also being representing the devil's name, Beelzebub, then that means that the fly can also be showing you like where you have been indulging too much in the lower vibrations, indulging too much in temptation or addiction or desire and lust. And so because of its connection with the devil, the flies might be asking you to reevaluate how you've been spending your time and your thoughts, and to really see if that's in alignment with what it is that you want to create in the world. So basically, the fly can kind of mean many different things. It just depends on what you were thinking and what's been going on in your life at the time of experiencing the fly as a spiritual message. Well, that about wraps it up for this video. So if you like this video, be sure to click that like button and share this video with all your friends out there. And of course, if you're a viewer but not yet a subscriber, I would love for you to click subscribe down below. And once you have subscribed, you can turn on the notifications bell if you would like to be notified each and every time I upload a new video. Thank you guys so much for watching and spending your time with me. I love you. And I'll see you next time. Bye.